Greetings hobby fans, and welcome to Scifiwargamers. In this video we're going to have a look at the lore surrounding Necron Ctan and Necron Monoliths. First up, the Ctan.
Ctan Shards. Ctan Shards are all that remain of the once mighty star gods. They are echoes of their former selves, splinters of energy that survived the Necron's betrayal and were enslaved in turn. Most now languish in unbreakable servitude to their former vassals, utterly incapable of acting without commission. Should a Ctan Shard rebel, or a fault develop in its control relays, then fail-safe mechanisms automatically activate, whisking the creature back to its tomb, there to languish for centuries until times are dire enough that its services must be called upon again. Even with these precautions, the Necrons are wary of employing Ctan Shards in battle. Though the chance of escape is remote, the possibility remains. So the day must be dark indeed before the Tesseract labyrinths are opened and the Ctan unleashed upon the galaxy once again. Even in their reduced and wholly fettered state, Ctan Shards are beings of near unlimited power. They can manifest energy blasts, control the minds of lesser beings, manipulate the flow of time, and banish foes to alternative realities. Indeed, a Ctan Shard's abilities are limited only by two things: its imagination, which is immense, and glimmering memories of the being from which it was severed. Whilst no individual Ctan Shard has full recall of the omnipotent creature it once was, each carries the personality and hubris of that far vaster and more puissant being. Though a Ctan Shard has the power to reduce a tank to molten slag with but a gesture, it might simply not occur to it to do so, as its Gestalt primogenitor would have tackled the situation through other means, such as by devolving the crew into primordial ooze, or deceiving them into attacking their own allies. The only hope of defeating a Ctan is to breach its necrodermis, the living metal form that cages its essence. If the necrodermis is compromised, the Ctan Shards explodes in a pulse of blinding energy, its being scattered to the galactic winds. Whilst it is true that many Ctan Shards are now indentured to Necron service, this by no means accounts for the entire pantheon. Rumours of Ctan-like beings can be found across the galaxy, though many are merely entities that exhibit inexplicable powers. Indeed, any such being, whether warp-spawned demon, energy-based life form, or an alien with advanced technology, can be mistaken for a Ctan if the observer is primitive, credulous, or simply ill-informed enough. This discrepant information causes great confusion concerning the exact number and nature of the surviving Ctan, even among the Eldar. Records held in the Black Library contradict those maintained on Ulthway, which are again at odds with the archives held on Alayatok. There might be 4 Ctan, 4,000, or any number in between. However, all Eldar agree that the splinters of knowledge held by the Imperium are so flawed and confused that they, if anything, move further from the truth with each fresh discovery made. Any who go looking for proof of a Ctan's existence can easily uncover it, but this speaks more to the mindset of the searcher than it does to any value of the evidence.
Well, I wouldn't want to run into one of those in a dark alley, I can tell you. Anyway, if you're enjoying the video so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Or you could even support the channel on Patreon, the link to which is in the description below.
Necron Monolith. Monoliths. Nothing is so emblematic of Necron implacability than the Monolith. Like all Necron constructs, it is composed of living metal, a complex semi-sentient alloy that ripples and flows to repair damage in a blink of an eye. Target matrices and motive units, power conduits and command nodes are all capable of comprehensive and near instantaneous self-repair. When combined with the vehicle's slab-sided armor plates, this makes the Monolith an incredibly daunting opponent for any enemy. Energy beams are absorbed and dispersed, whilst tank-busting missiles simply ricochet off the Monolith's armoured hide, leaving behind minor damage whose repair lies easily within the parameters of the living metal's arcane function. Indeed, the only way to truly halt the advance of a Monolith is to target it with a sustained period of focused fire. Only by punching through the armoured shell to the vital systems and crew within can there be any hope of ending its threat. Few enemies, however, have the discipline to be so precise under fire, and even they must be swift in their targeting, lest they be disintegrated by the Monolith's formidable array of weaponry. Even a single Monolith can muster enough firepower to be considered a small army in its own right. Most dramatic of its armaments is the Particle Whip, channeled through a glowing focus crystal atop the vehicle. A single ear-splitting discharge from the Particle Whip is enough to reduce tanks to smouldering wrecks and infantry to molecular vapor. Any enemies lucky enough to have survived will then have to run the gauntlet of the Monolith's Gauss flux arcs. These automated defense arrays rake the area around the Monolith in pre-programmed execution patterns, finely tuned to predict the panicked motions of foes under fire. Yet the Monolith's greatest and most fearsome weapon is its Eternity Gate. This shimmering energy field is nothing less than a captive wormhole bound into the very heart of the Monolith. With a simple mental command, the Monolith's crew can transform the Eternity Gate into a portal of exile, and those that fail to resist its pull are sucked out of reality entirely, banished forever to a temporal prison from which there can be no escape. Alternatively, the Monolith's crew can use the Eternity Gate as a form of dimensional corridor, pulling squads of Necrons from elsewhere on the battlefield, orbiting starships, or even far distant tomb worlds, and deploying them to the Monolith's location. So is the Monolith rightly known as a forerunner to disaster, for where a Monolith teleports onto a planet's surface, an invading Necron army is rarely far behind.
Well, those Monoliths really are a scary prospect indeed. Out of the two, which one do you think is the better unit? Myself, I prefer the look of the Monolith. However, I think a Ctan is always going to be a bit better in battle. But you guys may have different opinions. If so, let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.